Just ahead on CTV News tonight.
A Prince George's County police officer is in the hospital after he was dragged by a van driven by two suspects attempting to flee this scene. I've got the story coming up next on CTV News.
Plus, the numbers are out. How many Marylanders have health insurance? And the frigid temps are wreaking havoc under the roadways. All those stories and more up next on CTV News.
Good evening. This is CTV News for January 22nd. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. Well, a violent arrest ends with a suspect shot and a police officer in the hospital.
CTV's Mariah Jalad is at the scene where it all began.
We're here at the gas station where yesterday a Prince George's County police officer was dragged down a busy highway in a van driven by two suspects in numerous robberies around the county. Police say it all started here at Carroll Motor Fuels, where two officers were investigating a possible break-in. They saw the van matching the description of a vehicle involved in a burglary earlier Sunday morning, then saw the two suspects run from the gas station into the van. One of the officers tried to stop them by opening the driver's door, and the suspect then drove off with the officer halfway in the van and crossed all four lanes of Crane Highway until the officer was thrown from the vehicle. The second officer chased the suspects to Branch Avenue and Old Silver Hill Road, where they were taken into custody. The second officer shot the driver of the van, who was taken to a hospital and is in stable condition. Police Chief Malik Aziz says detectives are looking into whether the suspects are linked to other burglaries and said that their methodologies matched more than a dozen other cases.
These individuals, enough evidence has come in the last 6 or 7 months for us to connect them with the same type of MO. They're doing the same things, steal a car or use that car to, break into a closed business. We've been looking for these individuals for quite some time.
The officer who was struck by the van is in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Mariah Jalad, CTV News.
Dennis Burkett and Robert Burkett have been charged with multiple offenses, including second-degree attempted murder, assault, auto theft, and breaking and entering. Well, WSSC is reporting dozens of water main breaks across Montgomery and Prince George's counties since Saturday. This is one of two breaks on Baltimore Avenue in College Park. This one is located on the 9600 block of Baltimore Avenue, the other on the 9200 block. WSSC says significantly colder water from the Potomac River has essentially shocked the system, causing older pipes to break. Crews are working around the clock to make repairs. WSSC says one of the breaks in College Park has already been fixed.
The Metropolitan Police Department has made an arrest on a January 20th carjacking of a rideshare driver in Southwest D.C. The driver picked up the three suspects at South Capitol and Southern Avenue and was forced to drive them to an alley in Southeast. The suspects then demanded his car, and when the driver refused, he was assaulted and his vehicle was taken. A 15-year-old male from Southeast D.C. was charged with armed carjacking. A 14-year-old male from Hyattsville and a 15-year-old male from Greenbelt were both charged with unauthorized use of a vehicle.
And take a look at your screen. Prince George's County Police need your help in finding this missing woman. Her name is Echere Elawaya. She was last seen at 11 p.m. on Friday on the 8900 block of 1st Street in Lanham. Elawaya suffers from dementia and high blood pressure. If you know where she is or if you've seen her, you're asked to call police at 301-352-1200.
Since the onset of the pandemic, health officials say there has been an increase in anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder globally. Well, here locally, new treatment facilities have opened their doors in part to deal with the psychological impact of quarantine and other pandemic-related stressors. Now, a new state bill aims to help those who might have long-lasting effects on their well-being.
We're working on behavioral health. As you know, with COVID, it's a real issue, right? People are suffering from depression. So we're putting in a bill. It's the AOT, Assisted Outpatient Treatment Program, where people are mentally ill, severe mental illness, to be able to help them adhere to their medication to the requirements that their providers, has put in place to get the courts involved.
And the measure, which has yet to be submitted, will be sponsored by the Moore administration.
A health study indicates evidence that taking a daily multivitamin supplement can improve memory and slow cognitive aging in older adults. Researchers at Mass General Brigham tested the effects of multivitamins on over 5,500 people. According to the Alzheimer's Association, by 2060, nearly 1 in 4 Americans will be in an age bracket at elevated risk of cognitive decline and Alzheimer's. The study lasted 2 years.
This just into CTV News. Dexter Scott King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s youngest son, has died. Today, the King Center announced that Dexter King lost his battle with prostate cancer. King's wife of over 10 years, Lee Weber King, says that her husband passed peacefully in his sleep at their home in Malibu. He was 62 and had no children. No word yet on when his memorial service will be.
And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. Coming up,
county takes measures to keep an apartment complex affordable. I'm Katara Jones. I'll have all the details coming up on CTV News.
Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. Many of these animals are rescued from desolate conditions. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals for more than 140 years. They help ensure that pets have a safe, warm shelter during times of need, especially during natural disasters. But pets need forever homes too. Adopting a shelter pet enriches the lives of one's family and allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work, including their efforts to rescue animals in need, certify the humane treatment of farm animals, help ensure the safety of animals on the silver screen, and protect our planet's amazing endangered species at AmericanHumane.org.
welcome back. Well, it's an effort to stabilize, preserve, and expand housing opportunities for low and moderate income households and increase the availability of quality, affordable rental housing.
The county says an apartment complex along the Blue Line corridor will remain affordable. CTV's Katara Jones is in Seat Pleasant with more.
The county worked to keep this apartment complex here in Seat Pleasant affordable for county residents. Through the county's Department of Housing and Community Development, the county used its right of first refusal program to buy the Pleasant Home Apartments located here at the 6600 block of Grieg Street. According to officials, the county can buy a property to keep and expand low and moderate income housing. The county plans to make 214 units of its 286 units affordable for residents. Now, this property is along the Blue Line corridor and is near 2 metro stations. Katara Jones, CTV News.
And the county says the right of first refusal program has preserved more than 1,600 affordable housing units since 2021. Well, a former Prince George's senator showers her ex-colleagues with donations from her campaign fund, according to Maryland Matters. Melanie Griffith gave tens of thousands of dollars from her campaign funds to other lawmakers in the days leading up to the General Assembly session. Griffith, who chaired the Senate Finance Committee, left the legislature last fall to become president of the Maryland Hospital Association. Records show the former lawmaker distributed $140,000 to 2/3 of her former Senate colleagues.
A voters' rights group has filed a lawsuit in federal court alleging the state's election board is violating their constitutional rights. The complaint was filed by the nonprofit Restoring Integrity and Trust in Elections. It says it wants access to the public voter rolls in order to determine the legitimacy of the state's voter registration data. The organization accuses the board of elections of barring public records from citizens who are trying to investigate the state. The Maryland Republican Party has praised that lawsuit. And Maryland's Health Connection has hit a record enrollment mark. This according to Maryland Health Benefit Exchange. More than 213,000 Marylanders have signed up for state health care coverage. The record registrations took place from November to January of this year. That's up 17% from last year. Enrollment was up 33% for African Americans, 30% for Hispanic residents. In all, new enrollments jumped 64% compared to last year.
The Maryland Department of the Environment hires its first Secretary for Environmental Justice. Anika Atkinson comes from the National Audubon Society Mid-Atlantic, where she served as director of the organization's Delaware River Watershed Program. Atkinson also served with Pennsylvania's Department of the Environmental Protection. Maryland's DOE has been holding environmental justice listening sessions in communities across the state, including in Cheverly, Langley Park, and Eagle Harbor.
Montgomery County Public Schools spent almost $500,000 in legal fees this fiscal year. This according to a report from the district. That's a five-fold increase from the previous fiscal year when it reported about $75,000 in legal spending. MCP has attributed that spending increase to two federal lawsuits filed against the district and payments of more than $195,000 each to two law firms.
A work group calls on the Maryland Higher Education Commission to clean up and regulate the approval process for contested academic programs. The group, which is comprised of university leaders and lawmakers, is aiming to avoid program duplication of historically black colleges and universities. It also seeks to honor a recent settlement for underfunding HBCUs. About 24 recommendations were approved Friday, including one to review programs approved in the last 4 years over the objection of an HBCU.
The Prince George's County Animal Shelter reopened to the public Saturday after closing its doors to stop the spread of a dangerous virus affecting dogs. The facility had been closed since January 4th after detecting strep zoo in some dogs. The respiratory virus caused 30 deaths in dogs at the shelter when the outbreak began. Some dogs remain symptomatic and continue to receive treatment. Officials say if any dog adopted from their facility begins showing symptoms within 7 days of adoption, the dog can be brought back to the shelter for treatment. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis ends his presidential bid and endorses his rival, Donald Trump. The move now leaves Trump and Nikki Haley to face off as the last major Republican candidates left, just ahead of Tuesday's New Hampshire primary. The Florida governor was once thought to be a legitimate threat to Trump in the Republican Party, but lost to him by 30 points last week in Iowa. And stay tuned for your sports page with Simon Buggs.
And now, Simon, I've heard we had some good games going this weekend. We'll hear more about those in a moment.
If love were a threshold, we could cross every ocean to understand whale song and coral, crab and plankton. If love were strawberries and wheat, we could shape it into a sweetheart dessert, passing our lips as if we had only tasted earth once. And if love were hanging from the branches of the pine and palm, acacia and fir, we could be indivisible from the tiger, the turtle, the bison and birds. If only our love were larger than wildfire and faster to take root. If only our love were more swift than the eye of the hurricane and strong enough to break storm surge. Here is the boldness of our love in one hand, our strength against what we might lose in the other. Can we love more? Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, sports fans, begin your Monday sports page with some NFL news. The Baltimore Ravens took the field over the weekend in the divisional round of the playoffs against the Houston Texans. And the Ravens started their Super Bowl run off strong, taking down Houston 34-10. The Ravens did struggle in the first half offensively, going into halftime as they were tied with the Texans at 10-all. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson spoke after the game about the halftime adjustments the team made that allowed them to come out on top.
We scored once, first half, drove the ball a couple times first half, but we didn't really have success in our defense was playing lights out, but we're not responding, So we just had to dial in halftime. Like Coach said, get the ball out quick and let the defense play us honest, and that's what he did.
The Ravens have struggled in the playoffs with Jackson as they were only 1-3 in the postseason going into the game. But Jackson believes this year's Ravens squad can really make some noise this postseason.
I really don't care about what people say. I'm trying to win day in, day out. Every time I'm on that field, I'm trying to play to the best of my ability. Those guys just had our team number in the past, but it's a different team, like I've been saying, and we just got to stay locked in on what's ahead of us.
The Ravens will match up next versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game on Sunday. Switching to more basketball news, the Eleanor Roosevelt girls basketball squad season has been up and down as they're currently 7-6 so far. But even though their record isn't the best, the Lady Raiders have some players that have made an impact on the court.
Kenzie Dadovich, her and her sister Jaden McGinnis, and also Saki Sterling. So those have been some of the girls that's been stepping up in some of these big things.
The Lady Raiders will take the court next versus Northwestern tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Sticking with high school sports, DeLon Parrish has stepped down as the head coach of the Wise High School football team. Parrish had been at the helm of the team since the school opened in 2006. And during that time span, the Pumas have won 6 state titles, with their most recent one coming this past football season, where they defeated Broadneck 21-0. Parrish has coached hundreds of players, some of which that have gone to the NFL, such as cornerback Ryan Smith and wide receiver Zach Pascal. The Howard County native revealed that he's stepping away to spend more time with his family. Moving on to college hoops, the UMD men's basketball team took the court yesterday versus Michigan State. The Terps were down at the half, 44-32, and Maryland was able to crawl back into the game, but still fell short, losing 61-59. Even though head coach Kevin Willard has liked the resiliency his team has displayed, there are some things the team needs to improve on moving forward.
They've been battling and playing hard all year. It's just we've been kind of, we hurt ourselves. I mean, 18 turnovers. It's their effort's been great. We've had really bad turnovers and untimely turnovers, and it's just not one person. It's been everybody. And it's not from it. We have some guys that are at times trying to make a play when they're trying to make something happen, which I like. And it's a learning process, even for the older guys.
The Terps' next opponent will be Iowa on Wednesday. And wrapping up sports, the Washington Wizards fell to the Denver Nuggets last night, 113-104. They will face off next versus the Minnesota Timberwolves on Wednesday. And also, the PGCTV men's basketball team will be in action tonight. The Owls will take the court versus Navy JV at 6 o'clock.
All right. And Simon, you think the Ravens are going to make it to the Super Bowl this time?
I think they have a shot, Patty. This defense has been playing absolutely lights out. Lamar Jackson, who is the favorite to win the NFL MVP, he has been playing very well as well. It's going to be a tough task going up against the Chiefs on Sunday, who are the defending Super Bowl champions. But I think they do have a shot to get to the Super Bowl this year, and I am rooting for them.
I was going to say the Chiefs aren't going to be a pushover.
They are not. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and that defense too, which is actually pretty underrated. They can give the Ravens some tough competition, but I saw the Ravens winning.
Okay.
Thanks. And we're going to get on to our weather now, but here's a quick check on that 3-day weather forecast. It's cold and breezy tonight with a low of 26, a 30% chance of rain tomorrow, mostly cloudy and a little windy, with a low around 33. Wednesday, more than a 50% chance of rain, cloudy with a high near 48. And we're warming up. Sorry, that's yours.
Thursday with a high of 61, but don't put away that umbrella just yet. There's a 90% chance of rain. And that's our news tonight. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Simon Bugs.
And join us again tomorrow for more local news.
Have a great weekend, evening. Stay tuned.
Good night.
You're on at the weekend already.
I know.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.